Hi, I'm Dave Bundy, editor of the Lincoln Journal-Star, and this is the Journal-Star editorial board endorsement interview with Chris Stokes, candidate for the Lincoln Airport Authority. Chris, thanks for joining us today. Before we make you the star of this production, we'll have our co-stars introduce themselves. Mike, in the supporting role.
Hi, I'm Mike James. I'm a community member and the newest member of the editorial board.
And Kent.
Hey, Chris, Kent, welcome out. I write about entertainment and arts, and I've been on the editorial board for a little over 12 years now.
All right. Well, Chris, the first question we ask is kind of a way for you to introduce yourself to everyone. Airport Authority is not the highest profile elected office in the state. So why are you interested in this office? And then what experiences and attributes qualify you for it?
Well, I've spent 35 years of my life out at that airport. I fly general aviation. I have a couple little airplanes. I'm in a club that owns an airplane. I flew Duncan corporate back 30 years ago. Wow, I'm getting old. I've been in the Air National Guard out there. I've flown, and I've been an airline pilot for 28 years, going out to the Lincoln Airport to fly off to go to work. So I am out there all the time. I am highly familiar with it. I know the people, the places. I know how the sausage is made, and I see it going in a direction I didn't like. And it's the classic. Everybody's sitting around whining and complaining about it. And at some point, I think I don't know where the actual idea came from, but I think there was a beer involved. And someone said, "You know what? You ought to do this." And I thought about it, and there was some back and forth maybe. And I said, I'm going to do this. I just retired from a 34-year Air Force career. I had some bandwidth in my life, and I said, you know what? I can dedicate some time to this, and I know I can make it better. So that's kind of my story on the why.
All right. So you talked about not necessarily liking the direction that you saw things going. You can elaborate on that a little bit, but we're also interested in sort of new ideas and perspectives that you want to bring to the Airport Authority.
Yeah, well, it's really hard to say you don't like the way the airport's going, because it basically disparages the current airport authority and their current airport staff. And they are absolutely doing their best, and they're doing fine work at what they do. So I always have to throw that out, because I haven't in the past, and that did not end well. But anyway, so yeah, the bottom line is that we have one regional airline in Lincoln, Nebraska, of the 72nd largest city in the nation, with 304,000 people and a 340,000 population MSA around us. It is cities with 60 and 80,000 people, even close to another airport like ours. The standard excuse is, oh, well, we're next to Omaha. Well, guess what? Santa Fe is next to capital of New Mexico. There's Appleton's close to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yes, yeah, Albuquerque. And so but these little towns of a fourth or a fifth of our size have 3 airlines and 17 destinations and a full airline service. So it's just, what's happened is we've gotten into a habit of not having airlines, and we've got the crutch of Omaha, and this needs to change. We've got to change this. And I really genuinely believe it can be done through some programs and ideas that I have that I will elaborate on in a bit. One of the things that I believe is a problem is, I got to be careful how I say this, but the way that the Lincoln Airport is set up with an autonomous airport authority separate from the city is, I'm not going to say it's unusual, but it's a little different. And most cities, the mayor is kind of the king of the airport, and the mayor would appoint an airport board to deal with airport stuff. The airport's basically a little city of 85 people that are, there's a police chief and there's a mayor, we call him the director. There's an ops guy and there's a marketing person and there's a whole team of people that mow and fix fences and just a whole world out there, a little miniature city. But usually in the standard way that this is done, a mayor would appoint, whether it doesn't matter what color they are, if they're red or blue or green or purple, the mayor would appoint someone to this board. I have a board that is interested in aviation, that has a background in aviation. So, and the way it's set up in Lincoln is we've got this system where it's elected, which you can say rah, democracy. But on the other hand, you get a bunch of people who are running that frankly aren't maybe dialed into aviation. I don't know how to say it nicely, and I don't want to disparage the current folks on the board or anything like that. But it encourages people to run, and one of the parties is, well, I shouldn't say one. They both can use it as a springboard. Like, hey, I'm a 24-year-old poli-sci major, and I want to be state senator someday. So this is a logical first step. Well, guess what? That person's eye is on the state legislature, and they don't care or don't know or whatever about maybe the airport. And so that's part of the reason I think our airport is stagnated compared to our peer cities of Sioux Falls, Des Moines, Wichita. I mean, this kind of thing. So sorry if that was a long-winded question.
No, you're on pace. You're fine. So
Yeah.
I think you were headed this direction maybe a little bit. The airport recently landed another passenger carrier. What has to happen to increase the number of flights, the number of airlines that serve us, and passenger loads?
Well, how it's been done so far is they've hired a consultant, and this consultant goes out and goes out and calls American Airlines and says, "Hey, I'm representing Lincoln, and I want American Airlines to come to Lincoln." And they say, "Well, we're full," and he goes on his way. That's what we've been doing. It's like the definition of insanity. It's not working. Stop that. So what I am proposing is creating small committees, maybe 3 to 5 person committees with people who are stakeholders, I guess you'd call them, maybe business leaders, university leaders, maybe even employees of that company. Let's say Southwest Airlines, for example. I've got a friend, she's a CEO of a company downtown. She is a Southwest person. She loves Southwest. She flies to Chicago all the time. She does Southwest. That's her deal. Getting her on a committee with maybe a Southwest Airlines pilot who I know who's a super sharp guy, and maybe a university person. Anyway, get a group of folks who are dialed into, or not dialed in, committed, want Southwest Airlines here, and have them focus on the Southwest Airlines marketing department, because down in Dallas, there's a building where people who sit in a boardroom and decide what their next city is going to be. And we need to be in their face in a nice way. I mean, professional way, but we need to know their email addresses. We need to know them by name. We need to know their phone numbers. We need to invite them up for a tour. We need to come down to Dallas for a tour and talk to them about what a great city Lincoln is, and 72nd largest city, 304,000 people, blah, blah, blah. We can give that pitch and just be engaged with their marketing department who makes those decisions. That's a decision maker of who decides where Southwest is going, what other cities. Now, sadly, I got to say that there's an industry-wide, again, being in the industry, there's an industry-wide pilot shortage and airplane shortage, and these people can barely do what they're doing already. I mean, all the airlines, they can barely manage their schedule as it is. So it is a terrible time between the pilot shortage and the airplane shortage to be going out and soliciting new ideas to Southwest Airlines or American Airlines or Delta or JetBlue or on and on and on. So.
All right. So on the other side of the airport, you've got the industrial park and those operations. What are the next logical steps for growth out there? What needs to happen?
It's a complicated thing because the land, is, you may or may not know all this. There's a whole complex set of layers between the US government giving land and it can't be sold, and it's a complicated deal. First of all, I want to say about what an incredible industrial park that is, or has the propensity to be. It has rail service, it's minutes, like what, 6 minutes from I-80. I mean, a major east-west artery for the entire United States. It's 2.5 hours by air to almost anywhere in the continental United States. It has the most incredible ramp of concrete, which I don't even know if they could, it would be priceless. I mean, it's billions of dollars of concrete. I know how much it costs to fix a piece of my sidewalk. I can't imagine having it, 36 inches deep and 1.5 miles long. But anyway, we have a huge runway and a good runway system. We have an unbelievable place. I'm going to go on a little bit longer. Sorry. It has the infrastructure in place, the roads, the drainage, the ditches, the utilities. Everything is there and ready to go for an awesome industrial park. With, again, it is so frustrating to see that it looks like a zombie apocalypse over there. I mean, and I'm frustrated about it. And I think there's creative ways, there has to be, and I don't know yet because I'm not in there and I don't know how that sausage is made yet, but I'm going to find out and I'm going to work hard to come up with creative ways through lease incentives and other methods to try to attract businesses to come and sign that 50-year lease. I think you know this. If you don't, they can't buy the land, and so the only thing the airport authority has to offer is like, well, I can give you a long land lease, and then the company says, well, so I have to build a $20 million complex, and in 30 years it's yours, and I have to pay you rent. Well, that sucks, and that's what it gets to, because that same company can go, well, I'm not doing that. Same way I would not do that, and I'd say, well, I'm going to go buy a square of land out here in Northeast Lincoln for 20 grand and whatever. There's just, it comes to a pass. So I think there is a way forward through changing the way the airport authority requires a industry and business, incoming industry and business to allow them a more a way forward to build a $20 million complex, like we just saw with Timty last month, coming to the area. So that's exciting.
Okay, you mentioned the Omaha's kind of been a crutch. So with the Omaha airport close enough for Lincoln people, what do you see as the right play for Lincoln's airport in terms of marketing and positioning? What type of, is there something special we should do, or should we be all things to all people?
Well, I got to say that the Lincoln Airport, if there's one thing they do awesome, a 9.8 out of 10, it's marketing. They're good at it. And they've got I don't know if you know Rachel, she's their marketing gal, and she's just incredible. Anyway, I could go on and on about that, but it's hard to market when you don't have any inventory. It'd be like selling basketballs and you have the best basketball commercial in the whole wide world, and you have Michael Jordan as your sponsor, and you don't have any basketballs to sell. That's kind of what we have. So we have, again, it gets down to, 7 little airplanes going a couple times a day to Denver, Chicago, and 1 to Houston, So marketing's not the issue. It's inventory. So if we could focus some of that marketing energy and power and passion towards Southwest Airlines and American Airlines and Delta Airlines marketing departments to get them to look at Lincoln, take a strong look at Lincoln, especially now that we're going to have the 6 gates open here this summer, which is great. And now that we have the Constitutional Amendment 1 has been passed, courtesy of Nick Kusick. He gets a lot of credit for it in my mind. I know there's a lot of people involved, Elliot Bostar and some others, but we have set the table for having some major airlines come to Lincoln, and now it's just going out and hounding them. I hate to say hounding; it sounds like I'm knocking on their door, but that's kind of how it works. I mean, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So that's my technique, or my how I plan to try to get these airlines to come. It's different than others. In the past, it's just been, well, we hire this guy out in Cleveland and we pay him a couple $100,000 a year, and he tells us he's working really hard, but where are we? Where are we? We've got what we have, and it's not okay. So.
All right, well, I am down to one last question, but before I ask it, Kent is going to lean forward and ask a question because I recognize his body language here.
Actually, I have 2. Just, given your experience as pilot and being in 8 bazillion airports, I suppose, how do you, how does Lincoln stack up as a facility itself?
Well, I have 2 answers. One, right now it's not good, but in about 4 months it's going to be awesome. The new airport terminal is going to be excellent. I went and did the whole tour and walked. So I'm not going to say like it's world class or anything, but it's certainly a great facility. Come this August. We'll have a great thing to offer both our citizens and other airlines to attract them to come here.
And does Lincoln have any reputation, visibility, anything like that in the larger industry? Is that part of the issue? Is people really don't even realize it's there in a way?
Yes, there is. It's basically fallen off the table. I mean, Lincoln, the town, it's not even discussed. A lot of it was because of this Constitutional Amendment 1. Are you guys familiar with that? It takes like 30 minutes to explain. Okay, you are. Yeah. Good. Well, so now that we can be competitive with our peer states and our peer cities, like the ones I already mentioned, Sioux Falls, Des Moines, whatever, Wichita, all the Cheyenne. I mean, you can go on and on. Now that we can offer the revenue guarantees, we are, and we have the new facility, we have a great base to bring, the airlines here. But to your point, Kent, the same way that a lot of people in Lincoln have changed their habits over 20 years since 9/11, since we had big airplanes coming here, the airlines have too. We've fallen off the radar screen, and we're at the board meeting when they're deciding on which cities to go to. We're probably not in the discussion. Now, I would hope that would change here in this next year or 2 because of between Constitutional Amendment 1 and revenue guarantees and the new facility. I think that Lincoln's going to be inserted into these board meetings with the marketing at the various airlines to say, hey, you know what? Lincoln could be a really great new city. So.
I think I just learned something. Is that when the big planes stopped coming here, was 9/11?
Yes. Yeah. If you remember before then, I mean, TWA was here, American was here.
United,
and they were flying 727s, 737s. I mean, I used to fly DC-9s into here, and I used to fly for TWA. That dates me and how old I am, but and then I used to fly 737s and 727s and for United into Lincoln. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I remember. But we've got a whole generation of Lincolnites who don't know that, and they literally grew up and they don't know anything different than like, oh, I'm going on a trip. I get up early in the morning at 3 and I have to drive to Omaha. And, it's for an hour and dark. And, I mean, there's a whole generation doesn't even know what we had and what it could be. And that's a little bit of my frustration.
All right, Mike, did you have anything? All right, well, Chris, the last question, wait, Kent, were you waving because you're done?
I'm done.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right. So Chris, the last question is an open-ended one for you. You can use it any way you like, but what didn't we ask you that you wish we would have? And if we did a very thorough job, you can just give us your stump speech.
Okay, yeah. Well, one little piece of that I bring to it is that aviation is historic in Lincoln. I mean, the whole Charles Lindbergh learning to fly here. We've got a great history of aviation. We've got Duncan Aviation. It is the premier business aviation maintenance facility in the world. It's in Lincoln, Nebraska. Crazy. We've got the Air Guard base. We've got a lot of aviation. General aviation is huge as well. So there's a lot of pieces to this that to being on the airport authority and having visibility of these other important parts of the airport that I have really good understanding of and I will support. General aviation, I could go on and on about that. I'm a big fan of it. It's the blocking and tackling for aviation. If you're not bringing up young kids and their Cessnas and allowing flight instructors to flight instruct out at the airport, which wasn't happening last year.
Oops. We froze.
Oh, we were so close. It was going so well.
Let's see if he comes back.
Oh, yeah, hopefully.
This happened at the start before we were recording, so I'm going to pause. And we are back with Chris during his closing statement.
Well, I guess in summary on that, there are a lot of pieces and parts of the Lincoln Airport that besides the obvious, we need more airlines, and we do. There's a lot of other pieces and parts that I have both the background, the knowledge, and I hope you can see it in my voice and my mannerisms, but the passion to go out and make that Lincoln Airport great. We need energy on that board. We need passion. We need people that know what's going on. We need people that care about it and aren't just trying to get to the state next step on maybe the state senate or whatnot. And I'm that guy, and I'm volunteering to do it. And I would really, I think I do a very good job for the city of Lincoln and the Lincoln Airport.
All right, well, Chris, thank you for spending 30 minutes with us this morning. We wish you the best with your campaign and on May 2nd. And thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Dave.
All right.
Thanks.
Goodbye, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. Nice chatting with you, Mike. Nice to meet you.